welcome to another episode of Poorly Explained. In this series, I take a topic that I don't know too much about, I research it, and I simplify it in the simplest terms so I could understand it, and I share it with you. And if I get it wrong, you get to correct me in the comment section below. So that's what we're doing. Hopefully my simplified or oversimplified explanation will help others understand what we're talking about. And what are we talking about today? It is NFTs. The reason why this topic came up is because there is a law firm served documents using an NFT. So let's talk about what it is and how it works. All right, so where we got to start is what is NFT, and everyone makes it very complicated. Let's simplify it to the absolutely simplest terms I can think of, and that's going to be an entry in a database. Imagine someone booted up an SQL server, went to the server, made a table called NFT, and then they shared it with the world. And they said, hey, everybody, write into my database. Put anything you want in here. But once you write, you cannot change it. So NFT is an entry in a database that contains various fields. That is all it is. In the real world, the database is distributed and there are multiple servers and they're all synchronized and stuff like that. But just to simplify, we can think of it as a table where you could write once and you can no longer modify the record. That is an NFT. So if NFT is a record on a database, how did these people serve a document using that database record? Did they put it into the record? No, they didn't. What they did is they put the document on a public server and then they put a hyperlink into that database record saying, we're giving you a document that's located there. And same applies to art. That's another thing that NFTs are popular for, is different artwork. And so when you have artwork, you don't actually put it into NFT. You basically hyperlink it. So then the next question is going to be, how do you verify that that is the right document that was served, that no one went to that server, changed something, and now the person accessing it later receives a different document from what it was originally? Well, simple. All you do is one of the metadata fields in your database record, NFT, you just include a hash value. So if somebody questions authenticity of a document, they can download the file, generate a hash value, and then look at the hash value and the NFT. And if they match, then you know the right document is linked. And same applies to artwork. The artwork isn't stored anywhere in the NFT. You can't put data into it. I mean, maybe you could, but you really don't. What you do if you have a picture, again, that's something that's been in use, somebody sold a picture. So the picture actually resides on the public server. Anyone can go there. Anyone can open it, see it, download it, make a copy, do anything you want. In fact, it has to be on the public server so that whoever opens the NFT is able to access that artwork. So again, that's something we have to be very clear on. NFT itself doesn't contain the actual data. It's just a database record with MD5 hash value, maybe description, title. I'm pretty sure you can make up your own metadata fields to describe it, but that's all it is. It's just a metadata record that has a hyperlink that points to another piece of data that exists on public server that anyone can access. So let's talk about some of the problems with NFTs. And one, as you can guess, the document on the public server could suddenly disappear. You know, the document that was served could be deleted tomorrow, right? And then the NFT is going to point to absolutely nothing. Same thing with NFT that was sold as a piece of art. That piece of art could be deleted, and what you own, you basically, when you buy NFT, you own this database record. You own a record that doesn't point to anything. When you buy piece of art as NFT, that doesn't give you copyright, ownership of it, or anything like that. And that's something that's going to be debated in court, I'm sure, as people figure out what they're actually buying. The other problem with NFTs is just because you have a record and it points to something, to let's say art that somebody purchased, there is nothing prevents anybody from making another entry to the database pointing to exact same thing. Or somebody could make a copy of the artwork, and make another record pointing to that, or they could change one pixel and make another record, or even person who doesn't own that copyright or doesn't own that artwork, they could create an NFT, and that of course is going to open them up to being sued by the copyright owners and stuff like that. But there is no physical restriction on anybody from making 2 NFTs, 3 or 4 for the same piece of art or piece of content. Now, in the case of serving documents, it doesn't really matter, right? We know which NFT we're talking about specifically, so that's the one that points to a document, and we're good. But when we're talking about sales of art and things like that, yeah, that's not really cool. All right, since we're oversimplifying stuff, let's take it a step further. So, based on our discussion, what is NFT really? Well, if you go to one of those URL shortening services like Bitly, what they'll do is they take like a long URL and they condense into a really short one, and then they allow you to share it. Well, NFT is kind of like that. You just need to add some more metadata to it, and that's going to be basically it. Imagine you can go to Bitly, describe your URL, and possibly have ability to see all the URLs that are shared, and then you send it to somebody. That is what NFT really is. It's just that we decided to use one database but not the other. You know, there's Bitly, we could use their database, and that could be NFT or someone else's database, but we just picked, I forget what the name of it is, Ethereum, I think. Those are the ones who provide the database storage and not Bitly, but they could be just the same. So if you want to think about it, NFT is a database record with a hyperlink. That's all it is. Well, the last thing we have to cover in our NFT conversation is the term non-fungible, because that gets thrown around and it makes it seem smart, I don't know. Non-fungible means non-replaceable. So if we talk about money, let's say you borrow from me $10, and then next week you say, okay, thank you, here is your $10 back. Well, you're not giving me my $10 that I gave you, you're giving me another $10. So money in a way is fungible. One $10 is the same as another $10. It doesn't really matter. When we talk about NFTs, we call them non-fungible because one entry in a database is not the same as another entry in a database, even though they could contain same information. So since we're in lit support, think of relativity. Every document has an artifact ID, right? So if we have two documents with different artifact IDs and they have same information, well, they're not the same records because they have different ID number. So because of that, they called non-fungible, non-interchangeable. But as we talked earlier, does it really matter? Because you can make multiple copies of them, you can point them to anything else. So yes, the record with specific ID is that specific ID and it cannot be changed, but do you really care? And come to think of it, you know, money, they have serial numbers on them. So technically dollars or money would be non-fungible. It's just that we don't really care about the actual serial numbers on them. We treat them all the same. So to us, money is fungible because we don't care about the number. But NFTs, I guess we do care about the ID that's assigned, and that's why we call it non-fungible. All right, well, let me know if this helped you understand what NFT is, and if I got anything wrong, please put it down in the comment section below, because like I said, I'm not an expert at it. This is what I figured out from doing my research on the internet. And of course, you know, anything on the internet has to be right. Anyway, thank you for checking out this video. Don't forget to follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and I will see you on another one.